But this is a before shot of what Ralph's going to do. Ralph's going to sculpture this so that it flows to the street, and we're going to take this, we're going to pull that out. He said he can pull it out, but this is what's got to be done. This has all got to be graded, and he's an expert. That's why he's hired. That's why he's here today, and his is a machine he's going to work with. But we'll start with, and when he's done, I'll do another video when he's done to show you what he did. All right? Okay, this is the work of Ralph. He's just getting started. It's about 8 in the morning, isn't it? That's a trenching tool. That's a Briggs & Stratton or whatever gas engine trenching tool. And he's going to use that to excavate with. But he's just starting out. This is Sunday morning, the 7th of March, 2020. The continuing story of grading and getting the lots 315 and 314. That's 314, house on lot 314, the lot on 315. Since the beginning of these lots, they were graded to, well, as a result of the grading that was done, the water can't make it to the street, okay? If we had 2,000 gallons of water come off this roof and that roof and rain on the area between these two lots, if we had 2,000 gallons come on to these lots in a storm, only a couple hundred gallons made it to the street. The rest stayed up here. Around that bush was a deep lake. This was all shallow over here. They made a shallow area in front of that column, just to the right of that column, but for about 15 feet ahead of it was this substantial shallow area where water had to stand. Before it could get to the street, it had to fill up that shallow area, and that shallow area, once it was filled, never drained to the street. Some storms are different than others. Some storms it can rain all day, slow and steady, and there's no really appreciable lake. But the water isn't running onto the street. It's raining, and the land is dry enough, and it's raining not hard enough to really saturate the immediate soil around that lake, so the lake just keeps absorbing water. But on substantial storms, when we're getting up to half an inch an hour, I think I've seen a couple of storms since I've been here like that. The water gets ahead of the soil's ability to absorb it, and what happens is we get a huge lake there, and it doesn't go away. When the rain stops, that lake just starts receding. It doesn't drain to the lake. There's nothing to take all that water that was stored up here to the lake or to the street, and that's basically was the result of the original grading. Now, I've done a lot of work in the last 2 months trying to move this whole trench going down to that cone. We had a contractor in here, okay, to start the story. Now you have the background. This rock right here, these two piles of rock, my helper and I took it off my neighbor's yard from about this corner of this air conditioning unit, just right of the bush, and out to that cone. From there back, we took out all this rock I still have to rake this out. I'm going to get a grass rake today and rake all that top rock out and get all that those big rocks out. It won't affect the grade. I'm just getting rid of that big pebbles, those big rocks. And my friend is supposed to be here. My helper is supposed to be here at noon. So that gives me about 2.5, 3 hours to rake this out, make it nice and smooth. I'll get my level out and make sure there's a good bubble or a good drop all the way to the curve. The guy did a pretty good job. He was here for the day. He brought in a hedgehog trench digger. It's like a chainsaw on wheels with big shark teeth, steel shark teeth on it. And he started grinding where they had put a berm. There was a big, huge berm from that bush to that bush and to the street where it kept the water up here in this low spot. And it still looks low, but it's so much improved over what it was yesterday when he started. And I already had started it a couple of months ago worrying about my yard. I've been sifting rock and putting, I had to put in a new irrigation system. What started all this is I had leaks in my irrigation system. The Builder Special irrigation system, I had leaks in it. It's that 1/2-inch plastic. It doesn't last. After 15 years, and we sometimes have frost cycles. I don't know what happens to it during a frost, but they have aneurysms. These plastic pipes, they burst, or they'll just have a slit somewhere. Maybe they got bent when they were installing them, and that bent had a memory in it, and it finally failed after 15 years. But I put in all PVC, 1-inch PVC down through here, so that's the reason I had to excavate it. And as I was excavating it, I understood, and I've understood for years, that we have a problem here. We have a problem with drainage. And thank God this contractor, Ralph, showed up, because I was having trouble convincing the new owner that we have a problem. As soon as he brought Ralph in as a professional, as like a consultant, a contractor. My neighbor brought him in to finish the job, and the first thing Ralph told him was, this is a disaster as far as drainage. You got a huge lake up there. I can see where the low spot is, and it isn't draining properly. So my helper and I cleaned off all that bare rock up to those bushes of my yard, of my neighbor's yard, and all this rock that is sitting up here is sifted. I call this high shelf, top shelf rock. This is the crown royal of rock right here, because it's been sifted through a 1/2 inch. Okay, there's no pebbles, there's no sand. The pebble and sand that came out of these two piles of rock is right here. See that pile? I still have to put that through a 1/4 inch sifter to get the pebbles and the sand out of it, because I'm going to use the sand to further bank. My helpers are going to come over here at noon. We're going to try to take care of my neighbor's lot, get it all covered with landscape fabric and all this rock, use it up on his property, get it done with, and as soon as his property is done, I can finish mine, and the rock won't be there. But this is the reason we had to do the job. I wasn't here to watch him grade it at the time. This was a Builder Special grading job. I feel much more comfortable now. It'll rip your heart out to watch a lake form here and not go away when you own the house, and then 2 weeks later have somebody that's living there tell you they got termites coming down from the ceiling. Because this lot holds so much water, if you have like 5 days of rain, you have 5 good rainstorms in 5 days, this lot has soaked so much water. Overnight, maybe it stops raining during the day and it rains overnight. So every morning you get up to a lake here and it's gone by the time sun has gone down, but the next night you get another one. All that water is staying under the house. It drives the termites into the house. The lady that was living here, every time we'd have a big storm or a monsoon storm, she would be knocking on my door saying, "We got termites. We got termites hanging from the ceiling." About 2 weeks after the storm. Plus, it destabilizes, if you have enough water, it destabilizes the pad. It throws the pad off level. Wherever the center of gravity of that house is, I don't know where the center of gravity when it sits on that pad, but if you keep putting water underneath this house without any relief or without any drainage day after day after day, that house is going to start sinking. My house, my original house, has already done that. It's not level anymore. The pad, because of it's been through so many rain cycles where the soil underneath the house more or less became a slurry. Now the weight of the pad and the weight of the house and the center of the gravity of one side of the house is heavier than the other side of the house because the furniture and the equipment and the utilities or whatever, the house will shift because it's on unstable ground. It's a mud pond. If we get rains, houses will float away up here. There wouldn't be any more room on the lots for all the rain that lots had to absorb. The attenuation that took place. Attenuation means it's a ratio of how much water is going to stay on the lot as to how much is going to run onto the street. They set it up to 1,001 attenuation. That means for every 1,000 gallons that lands on the lot, 1 gallon lands on the street. In every rainstorm. Landlocked, here forever, the lot has to absorb or evaporate that water. This is why this job had to be done. Ralph did a good job. It looks by eye as I keep looking at it. We're talking, I'm talking. As I keep looking at it, I won't have to do much at all to my neighbor's lot except just rake off that top. I don't like the landscape fabric because it's a fabric. I like it laying on soft rock that's pretty even, and those big stones I don't like it laying. That's so I'm gonna rake those out and get my level out, do a little meter with my level to make sure it's great all the way, and wait for my assistant, and hopefully by 6 o'clock this evening, me and my assistant will have my neighbor's lot all covered with landscape fabric where he wanted it and rock. And then I can finish my job. And what I intend to do with my job, there's my rock. My back patio is filled with rock. Oh, and two things that happened is we took out this bush forever and ever. I got to find a place on my property to put it, but I'm kind of busy now, so I've got a towel and I'm soaking it every once in a while to keep the roots from dying, to keep the roots fed. But my next job, once my partner and I finish my neighbor's lot, is I'm going to sift this pile through a 1/4-inch sifter, get all the pebbles out of it, and take the sand from here and continue to slope from the corner of my house to the street. Everything's sloping toward the middle. He set it up so everything will go to the middle between the houses, and I'm going to continue that with the sand and a tamper, and I'm going to put it down. Okay, so just to update the HOA, the town, whoever wants to know, the lawyers that the HOA hired, this is what's going on. This is why it had to be done. The house, the lots, both lots had a lien against them. That lien was they had to be the water drainage that was supposed to go to the street. Now it's going to go to the street away from the house. I hope this satisfies any questions that the HOA and my neighbors have as what I'm doing here. I think I have quite an engineering background, and like I said, when the contractor stood right where we're standing and took a look at the debacle, he immediately told the landowner, this is a mess. It's a mess. It has to be fixed. All right? It doesn't drain correctly. This guy's a professional. He's been doing it all his life as a living, fixing drainage problems. He took one look and said, this is a disaster. All right? That's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm updating. That's why I'm letting you know what that contractor did. I think he did a great job. And as soon as today is done, I can and those two rock piles out there are gone, and they're back on my neighbor's lot. Now I can concentrate on taking this area and sloping it to the middle, taking that area and sloping it toward the middle. The contractor raised this box so that I could add more dirt around the box. He lifted that box about 2 inches. I learned a lot from him. He was here, we talked for a couple hours as he was working. I learned a lot from him, and I was so grateful that he was here and explained to the homeowner what I had been trying to explain for years, for at least 2 years. But anyway, if I keep talking, I'll get nothing done. So I'm going to stop here and start working. Okay, this is an update. So far, it's a little bit of probably 1:30, 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. Henry and I have been working here, and we got all this landscape fabric down. I did a video this morning where I showed you where the contractor had sculpted it, but now wherever we're putting down fresh rock, and I want to remind you this rock has no sand or pebbles. This has been through a 1/2-inch sifter. But we're putting down landscape fabric under the rock. And the reason for that is weed control. The landscape fabric does not allow weeds to grow. When Henry comes back, he's going to fill all this in with rock, make the landscape fabric disappear. He's going to use these 2 rock piles right here. I hope we got enough to cover everything. We got a little ambitious, got outside of the lines. We probably took a little bit off more than we can chew. But my side, this side, the right side, I'll finish when we get all this filled in. But I'm doing this for my neighbor to get it done immediately, to get it done right and get it done and over with. Okay, that's why we're doing it today, and hopefully by this afternoon or tomorrow, this will be all covered with rock. Nobody will know we were here, and it's going to drain properly. Okay, so we'll stop here, but I'll do another video after he gets it all filled in.